Joined now by the former Buffalo Bills and Chicago Bears Pro Bowler going into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame out of Lynchburg, EC Glass High School, Ruben Brown. Ruben, congrats on going to the Hall of Fame. How you been?
I've been great, and this is truly a huge honor for me. Virginia's my home, so when your home puts you in the Sports Hall of Fame, that's as good as it gets.
Growing up, I mean, I imagine football player or athlete envisions or has dreams of getting to a Hall of Fame, winning Super Bowls, things of that nature. You played professionally, had a great career, you went to Pro Bowls, going into a Hall of Fame. Could you have scripted it any better?
No, as an athlete, you're always looking at your mistakes and seeing what you could have done better, because you're preparing yourself for the next opportunity. But when your career is over, you look back and you look at a lot of the things you did and enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it while I was doing it. And to have my town, my home, where I grew up, Virginia, where all my idols are from, to say I can join that group, I'm floored,
What memories and fondest moments do you look back on from your high school days at EC Glass in Lynchburg?
Oh, my God. I think EC Glass was the greatest high school on the planet. It's still one of the best high schools in the country. But at the time that I went there, we had the best, I would say, staff as far as administrators, counselors, teachers, coaches. The atmosphere that I went into at EC Glass was unmatched, and it actually spoiled me. My brother and I tease each other, and we said when we went to college, we thought it was a step down from our high school. That's how good our high school was.
It's amazing all the pros that have come out of the school.
Oh, yeah, tons. A lot of guys. I'm fortunate to be one of the first Bills, but we've had an offensive lineman from my high school go to play for the Bills also. A lot of successful guys from our area that have gone on and done well in sports. Obviously, my brother winning the Super Bowl. But, it's really all about Virginia and our influences. And our influences when we were growing up in the state of Virginia were the other great athletes in the state. And I could rattle off a list of names when I was in high school, like the Chris Slades, Terry Kirbys that were around that we looked up to, and obviously the Bruce Smiths. Everybody was trying to be like him as a kid. So, to be in that category and rub shoulders with those guys is amazing.
Chatting with Ruben Brown, going into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame this weekend here on ESPN Radio 94.1, the pride of EC Glass High School in Lynchburg, and of course so many great years with the Buffalo Bills, Chicago Bears in the NFL. Growing up, who were some of those early influences for you in life, be it away from football or in the game of football?
Oh my God. I think back right now, and I've been reminiscing leading up to this point and say, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? I could just remember as a young kid, catching the news and seeing the star athletes, the Friday football night lights, where we were all looking for those Friday night football shows, all the different competition. You're hearing about across the state what's happening in Hampton, or what's happening, more up north in Virginia with sports, what's happening with the wrestlers, everyone that was succeeding in sports in Virginia, you wanted to know about. Thick Pen, I can go on and on. Anybody that did anything well in the state of Virginia, you were proud of, you wanted to follow, you wanted to emulate or surpass,
I've interviewed a lot of high school, college, even pro athletes over the years, and I've always found offensive linemen fascinating. What makes you guys as a group, a breed, different from the other position players on the football field?
Oh, man. I think because we're a lot more intellectual about our game than the rest of the positions.
Is that required, do you think?
I think it becomes that way, and you have to, because we're interlocked. It's 5 of us playing as one, whereas the rest of the guys can kind of go out and play their spot. Well, I can't play my spot stepping on the toes of the center or the tackle, or vice versa. So I think that's the difference with our game. it's hard to stand out as an individual on the offensive line, which isn't bad, because you really want to be known as a group, what you do as a group. So I would say the offensive line is way more intellectual than the other positions.
Get you up these two talking with Ruben Brown, the former Buffalo Bills Pro Bowl offensive lineman out of EC Glass High School in Lynchburg here on ESPN Radio 94.1 on Virginia Sports Hall of Fame weekend. He's among the Hall of Fame class for 2019. Ruben, your favorite moment in the pros was what?
Oh my God, you put me on the spot. I used to say one of my early memories was an early playoff win with the Buffalo Bills, and I think Thurman Thomas set a record rushing that day. That was my rookie season. We played the Miami Dolphins the third time, and I was so young and innocent. It was one of the greatest days, just jumping around and watching. I'm blocking for Thurman Thomas, and he's setting the record. So I can remember that clearly. And many others.
It's so remarkable, even, the four Super Bowl teams with Kelly and Thomas Hunter, but even beyond that, when you were there and Eric Moulds, so many of y'all that are in the Hall of Fames now, it's remarkable.
Oh, yeah, tons of them. And they're still talking about Steve Tasker, who was a teammate of mine, as possibly a special teams Hall of Famer in the NFL. And I'm going to just tell you, to have had Bruce Smith as your teammate, and you're from Virginia.
All-time sack guy, yeah.
It was such a sense of pride for me, being from Virginia and also being in the locker room and keeping up with him. Not really keeping up, but just being on his coattails. That was a huge sense of pride for me. I know my mom and my dad and everyone in Virginia enjoyed that. Whenever I came home, they talked more about what is Bruce like, what's going on with Bruce, than my other experiences. But I did get to play along other great players like Jim Jeffcoat, who I really admired. He was there my first 2 years in the NFL. Guys like Ted Washington, probably one of the greatest nose tackles to ever play the game of football.
Underappreciated in a lot of ways.
Oh, totally. This guy's by far. Ask other players, other coaches. They'll all stand up and say this guy is underrated.
Last one, I thank you for your time immensely. Ruben, now, what are you up to these days? Not playing football anymore? Do you watch much of the game? What's Ruben Brown up to on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I am, I've had to come to grips with, all my aspirations have fallen short, except for my sports ones. I did what I did playing. I wanted to go into all this other, maybe business and, all of these great things. I'm just a dad. I got 3 kids. One is in college at the University of Buffalo. It's his second year, thankfully. And then my other 2 are in high school. I have a 14-year-old daughter who's like 30. And then I have a 17-year-old son who's a pretty good wrestler, which we're happy about. All my kids play some type of sports, not that I push them. But I'm a parent. And I would say that's one of the toughest jobs on the planet Earth. Unexpectedly, I didn't expect to, be in this position, but I'm doing it. It takes up most of my time, and I'm learning to appreciate it, I tease my kids a lot of times when I'm picking up clothes around the house. I'm like, guys, I used to kick butt for a living, and now I'm washing your underwear, so it's a big change. But I've come to appreciate it. I really like it.
Well, thank you so much. Congrats on going to the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. That's Ruben Brown, the former Pro Bowler with the Buffalo Bills, Chicago Bears out of EC Glass High School in Lynchburg. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.